Good evening. My name is John Swanson, and I'll be running tonight's meeting. The mayor is not able to make tonight's meeting. Today is Tuesday, June 25th. We're going to start at 7:03. Today is our regular school committee meeting. The public is welcome to attend this meeting. In addition, public members may access us via live stream via the web browser that is on our school's website. Our meeting is also recorded by our recording secretary, Laura Bowe, and I'd like to take this time and call this meeting to order and start with a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. I'd like to start with acceptance of the meeting minutes. We have two. June 3rd public meeting on the hearing of the budget, and to the June 11th regular school committee meeting.
Motion to accept public hearing on the budget minutes of June 3, 2024.
Heard the motion made by Mr. Hockman, second by Mrs. Carpenter. Roll call.
Mr. Huckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn.
Yes.
Mr. Olympio.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mr. Miko.
Yes.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of regular school committee meeting on June 11, 2024.
Second.
Actually, you heard the motion made by Mr. Hockman, second by Mrs. Carpenter. Any comment? Roll call vote.
Mr. Huckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn.
Yes.
Mr. Olympio.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mr. Miko.
Yes.
Excellent. Moving on to approval of bills.
I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant number 5732 in the amount of $1,201,428.31 dated June 25th, 2024, subject to audit.
Excellent. Heard the motion made by Mr. Olympio on warrant 5732, seconded by Mrs. Carpenter. Any comment on the motion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Huckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn.
Abstain.
Mr. Olympio.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mr. Miko.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant number 5735 in the amount of $71,130.28 dated June 25th, 2024, subject to audit.
Second.
Excellent. Thank you. Heard the motion on warrant 5735 made by Mr. Olympio, seconded by Mrs. Carpenter. On the motion, roll call vote.
Mr. Huckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn.
Abstain.
Mr. Olympio.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mr. Miko.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Moving on to continued business. Number one is Welch School MSBA project update. Mrs. Dunn?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Welch School project currently is being closed out at the state level. They're working on the final numbers. We should have our final response sometime by the end of this month or the beginning of, the middle of next month. The final commissioning will take place in August, at which time they will go over the entire building. They will also look at all the warranties on the building and ensure that they are in place so that going forward we will know which items are under warranty and which items can be continually monitored for care. The side issue of the Welch roof, which is not technically part of the project, but which came up during and because of the project, is going to be discussed on Thursday at a special meeting with the mayor and staff members to try to decide which way to go forward and actually fix that roof. Currently, there's a lot of damage taking place, and it's getting more and more pressing to make sure it's taken care of. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Miko? Oh, sorry. Thank you. I had one quick question. I'm sorry. Ms. Dunn, on the Union Street staff members, is that our facilities team or members of the school?
It's an executive board with the facilities management and the financial financial staff administrators on the school and the city side.
Thank you very much. All right, any other comments, questions? All right, thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Moving on to number 2, Center School update. Mr. Amico?
Thank you, through the chair, to Dr. Vidala. And if you wanted to give us a quick update on the center school, and then I had a couple of questions if they're not answered by what you have to say. So thank you, sir.
Absolutely, Mr. Amico. And so in your packet, we have a document that is about the center school renovations, and this was a document that was originally shared by our Director of Facilities with the City Council, and so it has the number and the date in which that was shared, and then it was reviewed by the Building and Grounds team. And so I've asked Dr. Herb Levine to be here today. He's serving as a liaison, working with the mayor and the facilities director and with the school department, and really acting as a go-between. He had several meetings with our faculty, both at the Early Childhood Center, at the McCarthy, and at the center school, talking about the move, talking about, you know, how it's impacting people. And so I've brought him here today, again, to answer any questions. This is just a one-pager. It's an overview of what the facilities department is planning to do. And I know that when school got out on Thursday, we had people in that day working on some of the water concerns that we had. We wanted to bring in a bubbler down to that end to make sure that the kids had access to that. That work started on Thursday, and I know we had workers in on Friday as well as yesterday and today. So, you know, we can answer any questions, and Dr. Levine is here as well to fill in any gaps.
First, I'd like to, through the chair, I'd like to thank Dr. Levine for being here. Dr. Levine and I worked very closely back in the day with the Higgins project. Dr. Levine served as a site director there, and the neighbors, as you could imagine, on James Street, Augustus Street, and some of the other streets that are right literally on the property here at the Higgins, were concerned about some of the construction that was going on, and I can say that Dr. Levine was tremendous in sending out information, especially when there was blasting and so forth. So I'm just pleased to know that he will be our site director and liaison from the center school. He knows the neighborhood, he knows the players, and his communication skills are outstanding, as we know. So I just want to thank everyone here and Dr. Levine for being on board, and if anything comes up, we know who to call, and along with your office. So I appreciate Dr. Levine for being here.
Absolutely. And if I could just add, Mr. Amico, I know there have been some concerns from the committee around facilities going over to the city side, and some of the communication things that we're working through. And so Dr. Levine and his expertise is helpful, because this is his sole focus, and you know, he can connect with the mayor directly, he can connect with the facilities director directly, and he's working with me, and he's working with Dr. Higgins as well. So having that person who's dedicated to this, to make sure that this is a very important project to us. It might be small in scope compared to some of the larger ones that we've done, but having a specific dedicated person, I thought, was very helpful, and it's able to be, you know, have someone have a close eye on that's not getting taken away for other school-based issues. So we're happy to have Doc on board.
Excellent, thank you very much. Mr. Dunn?
I do have some questions, thank you. Hello again, welcome back, now that you're an employee again of the city of Peabody and the school department. As far as the center school project goes, regarding the boilers, the original boiler failed, and the secondary boiler was utilized, and then because of the failure of the first boiler, or something happened with the secondary boiler, it was filled with water. Are either of those boilers going to be repairable, or are we going to need a new boiler in that school? I don't think yours is working.
Thank you. Technology was never my strength. My understanding is that one of the boilers is able to be repaired and they're going to be working on that. From what I've read and from what I've talked to Jim about, but I can't answer that question right now because I'm not certain of that. My belief is that one of the boilers will be able to be repaired. I didn't see anything where it was going to be replaced.
And have they had any discussions about bringing in a boiler on a cart?
That I don't know. I can't answer that.
Okay. I also have several other questions, if I could ask them.
Absolutely.
As far as the plumbing, and the estimate is $200,000 to replace all the plumbing fixtures in the building as well as the bathroom partitions. Who will be doing that work? Is it going to be a plumbing contractor, or will our facilities staff be doing that? Do
My
you know?
understanding is that Jim will be hiring a plumbing subcontractor.
Okay. All right. And then the roof. The roof still leaks. It says conduct repairs on the main roof and done. There's still a significant leak on the roof where the roof is soft and water collects there and it leaks. Could you please find out when that will be fixed?
I will.
Thank you. As far as being able to abate the asbestos abatement on all heat lines throughout the basement and crawl spaces, is that only for the original building, or will that include the annex? And how will that work be done and when, do you know?
My understanding is that there'll be no work done in the annex, including that abatement. Asbestos was one of the major concerns in the meetings that I've had with faculty. The ceiling tiles, for example, if there's any asbestos in the ceiling tiles, that will be handled according to all DEA, EPA standards. The flooring, there's no flooring that's going to be done. That's already done. So my understanding is that no, there will be no abatement done in the annex. As a matter of fact, there's no work to be done in the annex.
Okay. And there is a lot of mold throughout the building. Is that going to be addressed at all? Because there's really nothing here on this list that we have about the mold in specific areas in the building. Are they going to take care of that?
I'll bring that to the attention of Jim and talk with the superintendent. We're actually going to be on site tomorrow morning to discuss a number of issues, like even the playground needs to be addressed because some of the equipment might be too big for some of the little kids that are going to be there. We need to address where wheelchair students are going to be going in and out of, and that'll be one of the issues that we discuss tomorrow morning, so I'll have an answer for you shortly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Ms. Carpenter?
Thank you through the chair to Dr. Levine. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
When you have these meetings to discuss all of this, will the early childhood director be present?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Miko?
Great, thank you. Through you to the superintendent and Dr. Levine. Just thinking ahead, when you mentioned the playground, if there is any times that we need, because the playground may not be suitable for the kids, if we need some transportation to either the Higgins or, I'm just thinking outside the box, maybe the James Street Park, I would like the superintendent to move forward and allow that to happen because, you know, those kids, they need to be outside, and if they can't because if construction's going on, I'd like to see them still be able to get out within reason, and maybe if there's a bus available to take them either down to the Higgins or to James Street Park, depending on staff and so forth, so.
Yeah, we'll definitely look into that, and I know that the early childhood director is going to be there tomorrow, so those are things that we're definitely going to bring up. And I think there are other options as well of bringing in temporary equipment and smaller, you know, mobile type equipment, and I lean on, you know, the staff and the director to make some of those decisions, but we do have a small budget ready to go, so if there are things that need to be purchased to make sure that the kids have a play area, we'll be able to do that.
If I may, I've been on site with the early childhood director, and she's quite comfortable at this point that she can make it work with maybe the purchase of small swings and things of that nature. And there's plenty of hardtop for little kid activities as well. So I think we can make it work, but we'll know better after we go through it again tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Ms. Dunn?
It's just two more things, and they really don't fall with you, Dr. Levine. First one is, if we are going to do work on the playground at the center, I would like to see if we do get some tot lot type equipment, that it is used to add to the current playground, because eventually we will have the older kids going back to that building. And I know how hard it was for that PTO to raise the money for that playground. The second question I have is actually for you, Dr. Vidala. I watched the city council meeting, and I learned that the plan is to keep the preschool at the center after it's completed, and I did not know that. Could you please tell us more about that?
Yes, and we thought that this move is a big move for the kids and the staff, and once they move there, we felt as though a central location for our early childhood center would really benefit the entire city. It's really in the middle, and what the impact would be for the center is basically the structure of the center would be a smaller footprint in the main building, 2 classrooms per grade, and we've talked about this with the staff, you know, as we go through. When they return, it'll be the main building, 2 classrooms per grade, similar to the structure that we have at the McCarthy School this year. And the McCarthy will have 3 classrooms per grade, similar to the structure that we have at the Welch and the South School. And so, you know, if we're making this move, we want to be able to, you know, try to have the least impact on families. And I think this would be an opportunity during the year for, you know, our work with Mr. Hockman, the redistricting committee, to really take a close look at, you know, where those lines are, where those families are. And, you know, for some of the groups that we were able to identify through the previous work, you know, we have a large group of kids that take a bus, they get on the bus goes to the end of their road, takes a left onto Lowell Street and goes to the center school. Next year, those same kids will get on the same bus, it'll just take a right and it'll go to the McCarthy School, and that's an opportunity to keep that neighborhood together, and the kids that live and ride that bus together, and they'll just go to a different school. But you know, we've thought about a number of things like that, and be able to maybe lessen the footprint on the center school moving forward, so that it have more years to last, and a little bit less wear and tear until we're able to move forward with a brand new center school.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Dr. Levine, I just want to thank you, obviously, for stepping up. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Hockman first. I apologize.
No, excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just on the point that Ms. Dunn just raised about the preschool staying where it is, you know, we are impacting students at the center school for a year by having them go to a different school, hopefully in which they'll get acclimated. And I think part of the plan and the thought behind keeping the integrated preschool at the center is focusing on some of the kids who are going to the McCarthy already or going to other schools, the South and other schools, and allow them the opportunity to remain at those schools because they're going to develop relationships with staff members and principals and students and things like that, so it doesn't have a double impact on them as well. It's a little bit different than the Welch project, because the Welch project we were able to take 2 grades out and then work around the remaining grades that stayed there, so that we were graduating kids out of the Welch school and the schools that they transitioned to for their 4th and 5th grade years. The center school kids are leaving K through 5, so a student who starts perhaps kindergarten at a school will be able to remain in that school perhaps because of the structure that you're setting up. So I appreciate it, and I thank you for being so thoughtful.
Thank you. One more. Anybody else? All
Just one.
right. Ms. Dunn.
Where this is very different than what the parents heard about the plans for the center, I would suggest that we send some information to them to explain that, so that they are able to understand this and have time to get used to that idea, because that is not what they anticipated. It's not what they knew when they left school.
So I do believe that this was a consistent message that we have put out, but I think we can reiterate it and, you know, bring up some of the other items that we've talked about previously. And I think we're going to be communicating with these families throughout the year as the work is done, making sure that there's enough progress and that we have a long enough roadmap to welcome people back. And so our focus this year was around the closure of that and making sure that families were supported in their transition and building relationships. And I think that the administration at the center school did a wonderful job. They had a great fifth grade moving on ceremony. They did a really thoughtful moving on ceremony for their fourth graders who won't have the opportunity to return, and really supporting the families. We were able to do field trips to the new schools, and so it's very thoughtful in the relationships that they're building now, and we'll follow a very thoughtful process on the way back as well. And so I think that's something that we'll need to communicate right from the fall around, what is the progress and what are the next steps, and providing people with that opportunity. So I know there are a lot of moving parts, and so we're committed to making sure that we build those relationships with the families and that they have a real clear idea of what their options are moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Meek.
Through the chair to Dr. Vidala. Dr. Vidala, we had talked about this, and I know Dr. Higgins is going to be working on this as well, about the bus situation down at James Street and Perkins. If we could, about a week before that happens, if we can work with the mayor's office and send out an all-call to residents and to our student community over at the center school, just so everyone's on board and everyone knows what's going on. Because it'll be a little bit different for some people jumping on buses and going to different schools, and I know Dr. Higgins is going to be there, so thank you.
Any others? All right, so appreciate it, Doctor. Appreciate you stepping up as well and running this. I think, as you can tell, you're the conference of this committee and the community for making sure that something that's going to be very difficult for our students and our staff, that you'll be there for them and be a great lead for this project. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to superintendent's report.
Excellent. So if there's no objections, I'd like to just move the year in review to the end of the superintendent's report, because that would make the first item a donation from the Lions Club. We have Dr. Levine here. We have Pamela from the Lions Club as well, the president. And I just want to thank them personally for all the work that they do. We have a very vibrant Lions Club in Peabody. They do a number of things in the community. They're an excellent partner. And so I'll let them share a little bit more about what they do. But I'm always impressed by all the work that they do and the generosity that we have from our local Lions Club. So I'll turn it over to you, Doc and Pamela.
So I'd like to introduce Pamela Sidori, who was an employee of the Peabody Public Schools and has been a longtime president of the Lions Club, and she's here to present a check to the Performing Arts Department and also tell you a little bit about what we do, if we could take just a couple of minutes. And by the way, this is a much more comfortable chair than yours, Josh.
Thank you. The Lions Club was chartered as a club in 1945, and the Lions Charities was formed in 2015. And basically, because the club was doing so well, and if you wanted to donate financially to your communities, you had to form a charity. So the Lions' basic service areas, the primary ones are vision and diabetes, and so that's how I got involved with Lions. And there's 8 service areas: vision, diabetes, and then youth, hunger, disaster relief, environment, and humanitarian efforts, which pretty much covers everything. So Lions clubs actually provide service in the communities, whatever the need is the communities. And the motto is "We serve," and another one they have is, which is my favorite, "Where there's a need, there's a lion," because every community is different and has different needs. So I can pass out our brochures. I've already gotten, we're going to have to update them because we've done so many new things. Our primary fundraiser, we only do 2 a year, so we don't pester people for money. We do a wonderful golf tournament every September, and this will be year 32. And it was started by Steve Calhoun and John Discus, the owner of the Century House, who was also a Peabody Lion. So we do that every year, and that's where we get our primary donations, and it's a fun event. We have it at the Thompson Country Club in North Reading, and we typically have between 80 and 90 golfers, and it's consistent, and we really enjoy it. So we have that down to a science, and The other thing we do, this year will be 52 years that the Saugus and the Peabody Lions Club host a banquet for the seniors on the football team. And I remember growing up, there was always football banquets, and a lot of them gone by the wayside, but the Saugus and the Peabody Lions have continued that for 52 years, and we have it over at the pizzeria, Prince Pizza, on Route 1. So they do a great job. So those are the main events, and in the spring we sell Winfrey's Fudge. We collect eyeglasses, our normal thing that most Lions clubs do. We have a box outside of Shaw's. It looks like a mailbox, but it's yellow. And we also sell Winfrey's Fudge, and we do that for families. We do that in the spring. And like I said, we do the Saugus Peabody Lions football thing and our golf tournament. So those are the major things that we work on, and then we spend the time. We also, weekly, since it's September, it'll be 3 years, I believe, No Child Goes Hungry, that we have between 3 and 8 Lions attend and help pack food for the charity. So we really enjoy doing that. So we always have at least 3 or 4 consistently, maybe 5 is the average, sometimes 8. So it's really a fun project, and the Lions enjoy doing that. So if there are any questions, otherwise I'd like to maybe have someone take a picture. I'd like to present the check to the Peabody Public Schools for the Performing Arts Department. The last time we presented a check, I believe, was to the athletic department. We figured we could share the wealth. So can you take a picture with my phone? Because I'll post this on our website. Yes, and the other thing is every year we give 2 scholarships every year to 2 high school students in Peabody. One, two, three.
Thank you.
And this year we increased the amount of money. We used to give $1,000 to the students. This year we voted to give $1,500 to each student. We pick a male and female student, and then we have a dinner for them and their guests. We have them come with their family or 2 guests. So we enjoy doing that. We do that before they go off to college. So if there's any other questions?
Just, I'd like to comment that I am in awe of your choice of sport coats.
Thank you very much.
That's
I
very
can't believe you.
important.
It's a great sport coat that you have on as well.
And it's nice to be back amongst friends.
Who would like the actual check?
Behind you. Yeah, behind you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Sam is our new treasurer, by the way, for the Lions.
He'll keep us in line.
So before you leave, any comments, questions, please? Ms. Dunn.
Thank you. Dr. Levine and Pamela, just want to say thank you because the Lions Club truly has been a significant and consistent partner with our schools and with our students. And you've always done wonderful things in the district, in the city. I know you raise a lot of money and give it back to the schools, but I also know you provide a lot of education and a lot of help to people who need to know about the programs that the Lions support and sponsor. And it means a lot, and it's wonderful to see both of you here. To know that Sam is working with you too is great. But thank you, because it does mean a lot. You've always been good partners, and it's been a long, long time. You mentioned the number of years, and that's very significant, so thank you.
Thank you, Bev.
Thank you. And I also want to say that our rep, Tom Walsh, gave us last week Herb Levine and Peter Sokolakis, who runs our golf tournament, 20 years as Lions.
Wow.
And he gave a citation, and I got one for 10 years being a Lion. So that was really exciting to have that support. So we enjoyed that. Thank
That's
you.
great. There's one other thing. In the spring, the Winfrey Fudge sale, could you let us know about that, please? Thank you.
Oh, by the way, we're working on, and it's just about ready, PeabodyLions.org. We're going to have everything. We're getting updated with all our technology, and we'll make announcements that'll be easier for everybody to find out our information. So we'll be sure to let you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miko.
Just thank you, through the chair, thank you, Dr. Levine and Pam, for your presentation and for all you do with the Lions Club. And I think we do need a motion to receive.
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
So before we go on that motion, just again, thank you for all you've done for our community from our youngest children all the way up through our community. So I appreciate the partnership as well. Mr. Hockman.
Thank you. Through you, I need a few minutes, so sit, relax. I just want to talk about my introduction to the Peabody Lions Club, and it was, actually, I think when I was chairing Special Education Subcommittee, I was in Pamela's classroom. That's where I first met her, but didn't get to know her at that time. Just saw the wonderful work that she was doing for our students. She was a valued member of our faculty. The next time I met Pamela was when she was holding that cardboard check. We had a couple of 8th graders here at the Higgins who did some volunteer work for No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody, and they were interested in doing a sock drive, and they did a great job. Actually, those 8th graders graduated with this year's class, the class of 2024. Yeah, and Pamela got word that they were running the sock drive, and the Lions wanted to help and contribute, and provided a significant donation to allow those students to purchase additional socks for kids who otherwise wouldn't have had new, clean, comfortable socks. So that was my second introduction. And then thereafter, I think Pamela is understating the value that the Lions provide to No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody. It's usually about 8 to 12 Lions every week. I don't know if it's a social event or a charitable event. I'm not quite sure sometimes, but they really do a fantastic job. It's really a wonderful group of people who only care about helping, giving back. And the last thing I think I want to say is they provide glasses to our students. Our guidance department works with the Peabody Lions Club for students who can't afford glasses, that need eyewear so that they are able to read and see and so forth. And the Lions Club is right there, ready to donate, and including eye exams sometimes when the student doesn't even have the ability to get an eye exam or pay for an eye exam. They cover that. It's really a fantastic organization. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of credit for some of the things you do. You do a lot more than that, but those are some of the things that I've witnessed over the years, and I appreciate it, so thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And Dr. Lee, let me know when you want to go shopping. We'll find some. Could we have a motion to accept the generous donation?
So moved.
Thank you. Any comments on the motion? I think that's unanimous. Thank you very much. All right.
All right, thank you. So moving on, we'll go right down to number 3. You have a letter in your packet from Dr. Kelly. We have the exciting news that we are adopting a new mathematics curriculum at the middle and high school, and so we have some surplus books, the old books, and so what we're looking to do is to designate those as surplus, or declare them as surplus, and to donate them to local organizations. And we did send some home with kids, but we'd like to be able to donate the surplus books to local organizations. So we would need a vote to declare as surplus and donate the books.
Mrs. Dunn.
I'd like to make a motion that we declare the hard copy materials of our middle school and high school math materials as surplus, and to be distributed and disposed of in light of the memorandum prepared by Dr. Kelly Chase. So moved.
Second.
Thank you. You heard the motion made by Mrs. Dunn, second by Mr. Miko. Got a roll call vote?
Mr. Hockman.
Yes.
Mrs. Dunn.
Yes.
Mr. Olympio.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mr. Miko.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And the next item is just the schedule of school committee meetings for 24-25. You have that in your packet. If there are any questions, or we can discuss it at a later date. I know that during written communications, we'll have a vote to accept and receive, but this is just a list of all the proposed dates that we have. This is something that we typically review at the retreat in August, but if there are any questions, we can take that. If not, we can discuss it at a later date.
Thank you. Mr. Miko?
Thank you. Through the chair of the committee, I was looking at the July meeting date, and I was thinking in lieu of that July meeting date, if I believe we have a meeting in August, and then we're doing a retreat in August, and back to what, through the chair, what Ms. Dunn was mentioning about some communication. There'll probably be some kind of a quick meeting, I'm sure, about the center school and getting back on board for the new school year. So I would ask that we consider canceling the July meeting and adding, in lieu of the other two meetings that we could have in August. So,
Second.
All right. Open for discussion? Ms. Dunn?
I'm sorry, I just know under our policy, we're allowed to have one meeting in August, one meeting in July, but I also am concerned that there may be issues that we do need to deal with in July, so I do think we should keep that meeting until a little closer to that time before we cancel it, the one in July.
So for clarity, leave it on the calendar. We have the option if
If
Kind of
there's
quote,
nothing
unquote, not
pressing.
needed.
Yes.
Any other comment? Ms. Carpenter?
Did we settle on a date for the retreat?
Yes, August 8th.
August 8th?
It's the 8th?
Thank you. Any other comments?
I would just ask that if anything pressing does come up, then we could call an emergency meeting. Some of us may be on vacation, some of us may be on other duties. We could always have a Zoom meeting if need be, if something comes up.
All right, any other comments? Ms. Harper?
My only concern, and it just came up today, where we can't release checks unless the school committee votes the warrant, and my concern is waiting 2 months might be problematic unless I can find a workaround.
Ms. Hockman?
Yeah, thank you. I agree with Mr. Amico here. I mean, if something pressing comes up, we can call a meeting in 48 hours. We can call it by Zoom. People, I know just for myself, the proposed date in July, I'm not going to be around. I'm going to be on vacation. I'm certainly happy to jump on a Zoom if I have to, but I'd like to keep those plans and not have to rearrange those. If there are some matters that come up, and there generally are, we'll take them up. We've done it before. You know, it happens pretty smoothly. I understand Mr. Rippon's concern. We want to pay, invoices and salaries or whatever it is that we would normally pay in the normal course, and we can continue doing that either remotely or convening here at a date we can identify.
Thank you. That works for you, Mr. Rippon? Thank you. All right. Any other comments? Roll call vote?
Mr. Hockman?
Yes.
Mr. Swanson? Oops, sorry. Mrs. Dunn?
No.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we'll jump back to the year in review. So this is a little bit of a change in how we've presented things before and what I'll be sharing today. So I provided you with a document. It's just a chronological synopsis of just sort of the things that we did this year. You also have in your packet broken down by standard, so just sort of a year in review broken down by standard so as to how we met our evaluation goals. But so what I thought would be a little bit different, a little out of the box for the last meeting of the school year before we enter the new fiscal year would be to provide you with this, and then this presentation has no words. So just a group of pictures that just kind of recap the year. So I have a few slides here. Our top left is opening day of the 2023-24 school year, where we honored our faculty with the Hope Award, inspiring a sense of hope for every student every day. It really took off. You saw at the Carroll School, some of the kids are getting that in the classroom, the teachers. So Sue Veligor, who was one of the recipients on the opening day, did that with her classroom all year. We have the opening day at the Welch. We have the I Love You Guys Foundation, which is our school safety protocols that we put into place this year. We have High Fives for Henry's, the Holocaust Symposium that we did for our teens, Pajamas for Ella, and we have the Sense of Belonging over at the Higgins Middle School, and you see that as we walk out some of the art projects that the kids have done. In addition, we had our bus patrol pilot that you've heard a lot about throughout the year. We did our HQIM adoption, our ST Math Challenge, where Peabody was victorious for the most trackers in the state for GG and our ST Math. We had a visit by the commissioner where he came to the school, which was great. We had our MCAS Exceeding Expectations breakfast, so you see there with Mr. Busey and the Higgins kids that exceeded expectations. We had our Connors Kindness Project, so that was for our elementary schools funded by PEF. We had our college fair at the high school, and then we had a visit from Secretary Tutwiler came. So we had a lot of exciting things happening in the fall. We were highlighted by ST Math, so Gigi came and visited the Carroll School, and you can see next to that picture we have all the Carroll School kids and their certificates for achieving 100%. Macy's was very generous this year with us, and they provided the coats for the kids. So those were all our elementary principals that received coats from Macy's to be able to donate to the kids. We had our opening of the McCarthy Playground that the mayor was at, and a number of the kids. I know Dave Gamache and his crew were there. They did a tremendous amount of work. And then here are our pictures of our holiday parade with the kids going by the school. And I love this picture of the students waving, and we have a little girl with her hand over her heart, and just the joy that brought to kids. So this was sort of a nice memory. And then finally, we had in January, we had our school budget presentations that I thought our staff did a wonderful job with. So there we have the cover of the Higgins and the high school. You may remember that we had John Simmons was able to bring in the lyrical opera to the Wigan Auditorium, and the students were able to visit, and that was really an incredible showing. And what a great photo, what a great room, and to be able to have our kids experience something like that was really wonderful. And again, that was made by the generous donation of the Gravok Family Foundation. So sometimes when PEF can't fund something, Dave Gravel and his generosity finds a way to bring this experience to kids that might not have that experience, and brought a whole grade level down to the Wigan to experience that, and that was really nice. Our culinary arts department has been great this year. They've done a number of different things. We did highlight the cake decorating. Kids went to Gillette Stadium for the cake decorating. They did a wonderful job with that. You may remember we did a bullying video. We're going to be rolling that out and doing more with that video. But you may recall that our students were the ones that narrated it. So the company we did that through a grant with part of school safety and doing that. But other people that have used this organization, they use kind of like a stock voice to do the narrating, but through Miss Manning and our drama department, our kids were the ones that were able to narrate that, and we were able to have it translated in Spanish and in Portuguese, and it was our kids who did that and our students. So that was really a sense of pride that we have. And then this year, we ended with a lot of great things. We had the 5th grade Olympiad. We had our wonderful celebrations with our moving on ceremonies. Seth Moulton came to the Higgins and had great conversation with the students. Their questions were unbelievable. He was really moved by that. It was a really good opportunity for the kids to engage in some of the civic engagement there. Project Lead the Way is another thing that we got that was grant funding through computer science here at the Higgins. And then this picture on the bottom right is a little bit of an older picture. This is when the Capital Skills was announced at at the high school, and the governor came, and we also got another capital skills grant this year as well, $250,000 for electronics and engineering. So a lot of wonderful things happening this year. So I thought it'd be nice to do a little year in review via pictures, but we also have all of the things that we did here over these 3 pages. And there's just a lot of good things. You know, today we had our end of the year leadership meeting, and so all of our leaders were here engaging in discussions about teaching and learning. It was really inspiring and really exciting to have them here. And in addition, we have over 100 teachers engaging in professional development this week. So, and everybody's on school vacation. We have 100 teachers that came back to do PD this week, and they're really engaged in some great teaching and learning. So thank you to Dr. Higgins and Dr. Chase for their work on this. It's been a really exciting year. We did a lot, and it's nice to go over that, and then to have the end of the year meeting with the leadership talking about next year already, planning our professional development, and it's really nice to be able to do things like that. And I always love, these pictures of the kids at the 5th grade Olympiad, just really excited, coming together. And you see the picture of Mayor Betancourt with the Mayor's Cup, and then behind him, all the colors that we have of the different elementary schools and how they all come together for that 5th grade Olympiad as they rise to the Higgins Middle School. So a lot of great celebrations here at the end, and so I thought it'd be fun just to do a year in review without words and just, really see the scenes throughout the district this year.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Dr. Vidala? To close out your report, Dr. Vidala, obviously another phenomenal year with our schools. I want to thank you, Dr. Chase, Dr. Higgins, your staffs, all the principals and all the staffs in the schools and everybody that's supporting them. Again, this is another good year. We moved the school system forward, the district forward, and that's all yours and your staff's work. So appreciate everything you have done for us and our students and our staff as well. I think it's holistically, we're moving in the right direction, so thank you. Mrs. Dunn.
Dr. Vidala, I do want to thank you. It's so good to see this list of what you and the staff have accomplished. And I especially want to thank you for the breakdown in the 2 different fashions, because the one with the standards will be so helpful and really is helpful for the evaluation criteria. And it's a good report. Thanks.
Thank you. And the last thing I'd like to share is just a little highlight from today. The Welch Elementary School shared a success today that I just think is really indicative of the work that we're doing. And so what we've seen historically is that we do our data, we do our star reading and math data, and usually, we see a little bit of the summer slide, and some of the achievement scores are a little bit low, and then we see a nice peak, around the mid-year when we test again in January. But for some reason, we've seen historically a little bit of decline in the spring, and, there's a number of reasons, that we think that was happening. But consistently this year, every school went up. And 2 things I'd like to highlight. The South School had 70% passing rate in mathematics, school-wide, a 70% proficiency rate, and we think of the MCAS scores were about 1/3 of the district, and we really wanted to focus on, how do we get those numbers up. So I think the work that Ms. Sullivan and her team are doing is really incredible. And the part about the Welch School, they were concerned about some of their scores mid-year, and they really took time to work with teachers around planning and meeting individually and trying to help and support them, and they doubled their achievement scores from January to the end of the year. And so we've seen this huge increase in the spring that we've never seen before. And so I'm really excited for the MCAS scores to come out, because I think their hard work and the work that they've done district-wide and supporting the teachers is really starting to come to fruition. So I'm excited to see that, because we celebrated a lot of wins, and they were able to celebrate it at the end of the year with the teachers and all the great work that they've done. So I'm really excited that, to share some of that academic things as we return to school and use that as a kickoff. So there's a lot to celebrate, and still a lot of great work to do, and we know that the work is challenging, but it's nice to celebrate those small wins, and hopefully we'll see some of that when the MCAS scores come out that we can really be proud of.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for you and your staff and everybody in our school districts that's helping our students move forward. Moving on, public participation. Anybody in the audience here? No? Anybody online?
Yep, seeing none online.
All right. Moving on to written communications, we have 3. Year in review from Dr. Vidala, memo from Dr. Chase, and our school committee meeting minutes. Could I have a motion to accept?
Motion received.
Thank you. Motion made by Mrs. Dunn. Second by Mr. Miko. Any objection? All in favor? Passed. Thank you. Subcommittee reports. Education Subcommittee?
Thank you. Through the chair, I'll be scheduling a meeting with Dr. Chase and the subcommittee to go over our next year's dues and what's going on. So I know Dr. Chase does a great job with our instructional leaders and her team, so it'd be great to just see what's moving forward for next year. So thank you, Dr. Chase.
Thank you. Finance Subcommittee?
Nothing new to report.
Thank you. School Safety Subcommittee?
Nothing new to report.
Athletics and Wellness?
Yeah, I just want to say we had a fantastic year athletically and with our wellness programs. It was really exciting to follow through the year. Believe it or not, captain's practices for fall sports are starting in the next couple of weeks. On a maybe a little more of a personal note, Peabody Babe Ruth started their Eastern Massachusetts district tournament. 14-year-old team beat a good Revere team yesterday up at the high school here in Peabody. Our 13-year-old team is winning in the third inning against the talented Arlington team. The point of that is there's a whole lot of athletics going on outside of our schools and our youth sports programs. The Little League is entrenched in their Williamsport tournament right now. Both Peabody Little League and Western Peabody Little League, Peabody West Little League, have two talented teams at the 12-year-old level, but they also have teams starting, I think, at the 8-year-old level, playing in Jimmy Fund tournaments and summer tournaments all around the city and all around the region. Football will be starting up shortly with cheerleading and a whole bunch of other stuff, so get out, take your kids out, take your grandchildren out, take your nieces and nephews out, go support the kids playing. They want to see fans in the stands and perform for you. It's exciting for them and gives you a good opportunity to see different parts of our city and things like that.
Thank you. I'm going to make a comment on the on your Little League comment. If anybody has the opportunity out here, to witness a Jimmy Fund game, that is a team that's made up, and they play other cities, other towns. Give donations. That obviously all that money they raise, the donations they raise, the fees that all goes towards the Jimmy Fund. Plus, the teams that raise the most money, they have a great day for those teams in each of the districts to go down to catch a Red Sox game. They do a really good job hosting them, and it's another great summer event for our students that participate in baseball. So please support them as well. On that, quality and standards.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Liaison to Parent and Student Advisory.
Nothing to report. Our last meeting would have been this week, but it was canceled. And I just want to extend a public thank you to all the parents who serve on the Parent Advisory Board, as well as those who went forward and started back with the citywide PTO. If you look and see all the activities that the PTOs did this year, it's incredible, the generosity that those people provided to the schools, and the hard work of those groups of dedicated parents is really a tribute to each of the schools that had wonderful PTOs this year. So I wish them all well, and I thank them and look forward to working with them next year.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for calling out those PTOs, because again, we know the boost is up at the upper levels, but those PTOs help our schools, help our students, and they are the lifeblood of those systems. So thank you very much for calling them out and giving them recognition. Buildings and grounds.
I think we heard a little bit about the center school earlier tonight. I just want to, we all saw it walking in. The public safety building had a groundbreaking this past week, and looks like they're well underway in getting that project going. So,
Thank you. Special education, parent advisory.
Nothing new to report.
Liaison to City Council and Legislative.
Nothing to report.
Redistricting.
nothing to report.
And I have a short one for performing arts. Obviously, you all know from the reports and seeing the performance of performing arts. Would also like to reiterate a thank you to the Lions Club for the donation to the performing arts. They wrap up another phenomenal year, and it's another one where you'll see our students performing throughout the year, throughout the summer. And I want to thank everybody for supporting, starting at the elementary school. I think our middle school and our high school programs are going to be even stronger from some of the programs we voted in this year. So thank you. Mrs. Dunn.
Sorry, I didn't catch you quick enough. On the redistricting subcommittee, I'd just like to ask that at our next meeting, whenever it does turn out to be, if we could have the beginning of a schedule of the redistricting project so that we'll know what's going to be done over the next year so that we're ready for the following fall to have redistricting in place. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, new business, update to stop arm resolution, Ms. Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to let everyone know that when the Peabody School Committee renewed the resolution that we had made last year with MASC regarding the stop arm information that Mr. Swanson and Ms. Sherry have been working so hard on, that went before the MASC Resolutions Committee last week, and it was approved again with quite a bit of support. It will be going before the entire association in November, unless the pending legislation is passed, which it would make it moot. So contact our state reps and any reps you may know that are out of our district, and please tell them to support House 4450.
I have it down, I'd have to look it up, but I don't think you're far off on that. I'll find
Yeah,
it.
I think it's 4450. But hopefully this year, after 13 years of languishing, that will be passed and will allow the police to utilize filmed instances of people passing school buses. So thank you for pushing it through.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn. And just Ms. Sherry, myself, and there's a whole army of that Maria's brought together for that students, parents, staff, and multiple departments throughout the city that have come together to help that committee. So thank you for that recognition. All right.
This is really just another instance of being able to continue to advocate with the legislature. It's to help the STOP group.
And you are correct, it is House Bill 4450. Thank you. All right. Any other for the new business?
No, before I make a motion to adjourn, just wanted to thank the administration, the teachers, the staff, the students for a great school year. Ms. Bowe, thank you for being with us this year, and make a motion to adjourn. Enjoy your summer.
Absolutely. Motion to adjourn accepted.